Hey everyone, happy Monday. Hope you're all keeping well. I'm long overdue doing another kind of regular piece on topics and various things. So tonight, it's all about carbs. So carbs get a very, very bad reputation, particularly for people, well more so for people actually, that are trying to lose weight. It's kind of seen like the devil food. Like some of the things that you'll hear, one of the main ones actually, is that carbs after a certain time at night will cause you to gain weight quicker or not to lose weight. Or you'll often hear about good carbs and bad carbs. What's the difference? Is a carb not a carb? Does 1 gram of carb not have the same amount of calories? When should you eat carbs? Or what is the purpose of a carbohydrate? Do you even need them? So these are the type of things I'm going to try and cover over the next few minutes. So a carbohydrate is a macronutrient. Okay, there are 3 macronutrients: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. 1 gram of protein has 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates also has 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat has 9. So regardless of if you're talking about these good carbs or bad carbs, the calories per gram is the exact same. However, what can vary hugely from different carbohydrates is the overall nutritional density or nutritional value of that food to you. So that's the calories in carbohydrates and proteins and fats. So what are carbohydrates used for in the body? Well, the key thing to remember is that carbohydrates are your body's preferred energy source. Okay? I say they're the preferred, not the essential. So what that means is that when your body requires energy, like to get up, to do exercise, to do whatever, it'll look to a carbohydrate source first and foremost. And that will be energy that has been stored in your body from when your food is being broken down, okay? This is where the whole idea of moderation comes in, because if you're only consuming the amount of carbs that your specific body actually needs, you shouldn't really have a problem. However, for people that are overweight or trying to lose weight, one of the key issues is that the main overconsumption of calories will be from carbohydrates, purely because they're so easy to consume. You can get quite a small amount of food that's very carb rich. So a good example could be, for example, chocolate. Okay, chocolate is full of sugar. Sugar is a carbohydrate. Very small amount of chocolate has a lot of sugar. And therefore, you're getting a lot of calories from quite a small amount of food. And that's usually where that energy surplus comes from. When you have that energy surplus, then that is where your weight gain comes from. I.e., you're taking in more energy than what you're using. Because if you think about it, protein sources and fat sources, it's quite difficult to overconsume those. I mean, proteins predominantly come from your healthier foods anyway. And your fats, okay, do you know, the likes of, say, nuts and stuff like that, yeah, you could maybe overconsume on those, but not as easily as carbohydrates. But carbohydrates definitely can be included as part of any weight loss regime. Again, it comes back to that whole idea of moderation. There are some nutritional strategies that do pretty much eliminate most carbohydrates, but these are more so for physique athletes. And to be honest, my mind is always boggled if I'm talking to people and they're saying, oh, I'm not eating any carbs, and you're just a normal everyday person trying to lose weight. I don't get that mentality. Remember, for your weight loss to be successful and sustainable long term, you have to create a healthy relationship with all food types. Eliminating it isn't going to help. In the short run, you'll see some quite quick weight loss, not fat loss. A lot of that will be due to water loss as well. Because when you reduce your carbohydrate intake, then the amount of water that your body is retaining will naturally reduce also. And that's where you see some places playing on that week 1, week 2 law. Like some gyms or some trainers might say, oh, I guarantee, or you know, that you'll lose X amount of weight in the first week or 2. That's because they know a lot of it's going to be water. No trainer should ever be saying, oh yeah, I guarantee you'll lose X amount if you do this, don't eat any carbs, blah, blah, blah. Because it's a load of shite. It's not healthy, it's not realistic, and it's not something that people are going to live with long term. So, key point, there is no logical reason for you to completely eliminate carbs if you're a normal, everyday person trying to improve their health. What you absolutely should do, though, is look at the nutritional quality of the carbohydrates that you're eating. Okay? How much value are they to you? What I mean by that is, think fruits and veggies are all carbohydrates, as are cakes, bars, chocolates, fizzy drinks, all that as well. But which is better for you? Like, it's a bit of a no-brainer. So you can still include your carbohydrates, and you can still include, like, you know, your sweet potatoes, your white rice. There's nothing wrong with that. if you do an assessment of your overall intake of the carbs that you have, okay? So no reason whatsoever to completely eliminate. And you can't completely eliminate. And for someone to completely eliminate carbohydrates, they'd literally be living on eggs or meat, I think, which is stupid. And which is why also, like when people say to me I'm not eating carbs, and then they go off and stuff their faces on a load of fruit or whatever, I'm like, but sure, that's carbs. And then some people are like, no, it's fruit. It's like, fruit isn't a macronutrient. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, in terms of nutritional quality, yes, your fruit and your natural sources are definitely a healthier source and should be where your majority of carbs come from. Obviously, you can get creative with your carbohydrates, like particularly like your root veggies and stuff like that, which again can be easy-ish to overconsume. So again, should be done in moderation, but they can be enjoyed. There's nothing to stop you making your homemade chips at home or having some mashed potato if you want. Nothing at all. Your approach to weight loss and improved fitness needs to be sensible with a long-term goal as opposed to a quick fix, a quick win. Also, if you're somebody that goes to the gym an awful lot or has a very, very active lifestyle, then carbohydrates can be super important then for giving you that quick release energy that you need. And that quick release energy will come from foods that are typically a bit higher in that sugar content. So when you look at the ingredients of something, you will always see in the nutritional info, it'll say carbohydrates and then of which sugars. And if those two numbers are fairly similar, that will mean then that it's quite a quick releasing source of energy for it. So for example, look at those figures of carbohydrates, of which sugars on say chocolate or orange juice, and then compare to porridge. You'll see a very big difference. So ideally what you want is that your carbohydrate sources that do come from packets with that nutritional info, that there is quite a good gap between the carbohydrates and of which sugar. And that's for normal day-to-day consumption, because what that means is that you're less likely then to get like a spike of sugar in your blood and mood swings and all. Even for the gym as well, if you want kind of good sustained energy source, it's quite good to have some medium release carbohydrates as well. Especially if you're doing something like steady state cardio, like say just a steady pace on the treadmill or the bike or something like that. Then this idea of, you shouldn't eat carbs after, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever the case might be. Why? You have to think about the overall picture. As I always say, folks, what are you consuming over an entire day, over an entire week? Your body isn't simply going to say, oh, it's 6 o'clock, therefore any carbs now are going to turn to fat. And if anything, that can be a strategy that people can use, as in save some of their carbohydrate intake for the evening, because a lot of people will like to have it then in your main meal or as a snack, whatever, because it's quite satisfying and usually you get that bit of a nice feeling from your carb. The only thing that I would say about carbohydrates at nighttime is that some people might get a sense of discomfort if they're going to bed soon afterwards, but that's purely because you have food sitting in your stomach. It's nothing to do with the fact that carbs are suddenly going to turn to fat. So don't worry about that. Again, I'd be a lot more concerned with looking at what has been your overall calorie intake or your macronutrient intake for that entire day, as opposed to a specific window. So if you find that it's usually the evening time that you struggle with eating healthier, then maybe look at the approach that you're taking. Maybe see about, can you have some lighter carb meals for breakfast, for lunch, and then in the evening enjoy a higher carb meal. Or, build in that you can have that, biscuit or two, whatever the case might be, with your cup of tea and enjoy it. And you don't feel guilty because it's planned. As opposed to just, oh my God, give me the biscuits. And they're all gone. Eating food should never result in you feeling guilty. And that's where the planning and the knowledge comes in, folks. And that's why I love doing these sessions. I try not to go too technical or too kind of scientific with it, because I want it to be info that people can understand. There's so much scaremongering out there with different food types, and equally you get people that will disagree with me and will have different opinions, and that's absolutely fine as well. This is just my take on things. And this is from my studies to be a personal trainer and the further nutritional studies I've done since then and all that. So I'd like to think that there's a bit of credibility with the stuff that I say. So if you have any questions about carbs, anything at all, folks, feel free to send them on to me and I'll do a follow-up session with your questions and answers. Cheers.